This week's Security Roundup focuses on shared trust failures, NAT-state manipulation that can hijack TCP sessions, CI harnesses that let untrusted repo input reach runners, a weak RNG behind multi-million-dollar drains, and thousands of exposed industrial controllers. We'll explain what changed, who's at risk, and practical steps. NatJack. Malcolm Stagg presented a new class of NAT-state attacks at Black Hat USA 2026. An attacker on a host behind the same NAT can modify connection tracking entries to redirect TCP sessions, spoof DNS, expose mapped ports, or exhaust NAT tables. 2 implementation CVEs were assigned, CVE-2026-56181 for Windows NAT, and CVE-2026-63913 for Linux NetFilter contract. Proofs of concept were demonstrated in lab across multiple products. No confirmed in the wild exploitation was reported in the reviewed sources as of early August 2026. CI and coding agent harness failures. Novi Security showed unprivileged GitHub input could reach CI runners. Gemini CLI CVE-2026-12537 is an OS command injection, fixed in Gemini CLI 0.39.1 and run-Gemini-CLI 0.1.22. Claude Code CVE-2026-54316 leaked an API key and is fixed in version 2.1.163. OpenAI's codex issue led to workflow changes rather than a product CVE. Anthropic and NVD reported different CVSS values for Claude Code, so compare scores only within the same CVSS version. Crypto drains linked to CryptoJS. CoinSpect identified cryptojs.lib.wordarray.random as a weak RNG used to generate recovery phrases. CoinSpect's on-chain analysis measured a lower bound loss of roughly $5,690,922. The weak generator reduced expected entropy from 2 to the 128 or 2 to the 256 down to about 2 to the 39 and 2 to the 47. 5 wallet apps were confirmed in public analysis. NatJack published a migration tool in version 1.3.0. CryptoJS advisory GHSA-RG76-677X-56Q9 was posted August 5th with a critical rating. Zapscape, a KVM/x86 shadow MMU flaw, tracked a CVE-2026-64561. An L1 guest with kernel privileges and nested virtualization exposed can escape to the host. The bug is a stale root check ordering use after free in KVM's shadow MMU bookkeeping. The patch moves the stale root check after make_MMU_pages_available and restarts the fault if needed. The proof of concept targeted AMD nested SVM. The fix merged upstream and a public POC exists. No confirmed wild exploitation was reported in the reviewed sources. Interrupt injection. Researchers at MIT CSAL showed an unprivileged program can time a hardware interrupt to land between a branch predictor sanitization and the kernel's use of it, repoisoning the predictor. On an AMD Zen 2 test system, the reported leak rate was 5.47 bytes per second at 91.97% accuracy, and the researchers read/etc/shadow in 5 out of 10 attempts. A kernel commit dated June 2nd titled Make Safe RET Robust Against Interrupt Injection addresses the problem. AMD published bulletin AMD SB 7061 on August 6th naming Zen processors as affected. Intel said it does not consider extra mitigation required. Who is affected? Cloud and virtualization operators. Check NAT and nested virtualization exposure. DevOps and CI teams. Audit workflows that outside users can trigger. Wallet users. Seeds generated by vulnerable CryptoJS paths should be considered compromised. Migrate funds. Industrial operators. Forescout counted 4,407 exposed Rockwell controllers worldwide, including 2,844 in the United States and 22 in affected water attack cities. Severity varies but is elevated overall. Windows NAT CVE-2026-56181 and Linux Contract CVE-2026-63913 63913 carry high CVSS scores in vendor records. CryptoJS advisory is rated critical. Zapscape received a preliminary Red Hat score. The systemic concern is that trusted local state or harness failures enable chained compromises that reach secrets and control planes. Key dates: interrupt injection kernel commit June 2, 2026. Zapscape reported July 11th, patch merged July 21st, CVE assigned August 4th, public August 6th. Novi Gemini and Claude Code, Black Hat August 5th, 2026. CryptoJS advisory August 5th, CoinSpec drain waves May 27th and May 30th through July 13th. Forescout Rockwell snapshot August 3rd, 2026. Patch status is mixed but actionable. Microsoft and Linux kernel fixes address NAT and contract issues. KVM Zapscape fix merged upstream. Distro packages and backport status vary by vendor. Gemini CLI fixed in 0.39.1. Run-Gemini-CLI fixed in 0.1.22. Claude Code fixed in 2.1.163. CryptoJS advisory GHSA-RG76-677X-56Q9 was posted. Avoid vulnerable releases below 4.0.0. Consult vendor trackers for package and backport status. Exploit evidence is mixed. Public POCs exist for Zapscape KVM, and the CryptoJS drain analysis has on-chain evidence. Novi published POCs for Gemini and Claude Code and vendors released fixes. CISA did not list those CVEs as known exploited in the reviewed reporting. NatJack was demonstrated in lab across products. Windows Hello for business abuse was demonstrated with PowerShell proofs in road tools. No active exploitation was reported in the reviewed sources. Practical actions: 1. Apply vendor patches and kernel updates where available. 2. Segregate untrusted workloads from shared NAT and nested virtualization. NatJack and Zapscape need a JSON host or L1 kernel control. 3. Audit CI workflows. Treat repository instruction files and allow lists as untrusted. 4. If a wallet used a vulnerable RNG, assume the seed is compromised. Generate a new seed with a trusted RNG and migrate funds. 5. Remove PLCs from the public internet or isolate via private APN or VPN and enable strong authentication and logging. Takeaway: these disclosures reveal a recurring assumption. Trusted local state and harness code are safe. Patches exist for many issues but also change architecture. Reduce shared trust surfaces, harden CI harnesses, enforce strong entropy sources, and remove operational devices from public exposure. Monitor vendor advisories and distribution trackers closely. Sources and further reading. All stories in this package were reported by the Hacker News. Links to each write-up and advisory are in the description below. Check them for CVE details, POCs, and vendor patch notes.